Well, I am not alone in expressing a massive amount of excitement for the Fantastic Four. And in the last week, we've been getting multiple updates from all over the place. Let's take a couple minutes to talk about all these casting reports, potential villain and plot details, and even some concept art from a previous Marvel movie that teased a major Fantastic Four villain. Let's break it down. Well, many of us are very ready for the MCU version of the Fantastic Four. Fox had two separate franchises, and neither of them really got the legs we always wanted. But the upcoming project for Marvel Studios has a lot of hype surrounding it, and for Marvel's first family, it really does need to be a huge hit. Now, over the last week or so, we've been getting a lot of new news, mostly in the form of casting details, some details about the potential plot, and even some art from a previous Marvel project that may have given us an idea of where Marvel is going. So let's take a couple minutes to break it all down. We'll start off with some of the casting details and the Invisible Woman. Now, for several weeks, Lily James and Jodie Comer's names have been linked to the Invisible Woman for the Fantastic Four. But now we have a new report via My Time to Shine. Now, like always with any of these reports, we like to point to the fact that this is not from Marvel Studios, so it's not official. But we're finding a lot of these scoopers are nailing these reports, and although I want you to be aware of the source, this very well might turn out to be true. What's being reported is Ambulance and Bloodshot star Eiza González is currently the top choice to play the Invisible Woman, aka Sue Storm. The actress has been pretty awesome in a couple of movies, but quite honestly, this will be Gonzalez's biggest role ever and put her on the map in Hollywood. Marvel Studios likes to grab actors at this stage, and she seems to be a very logical choice. Now, she is of Mexican heritage, so I'm kind of assuming that Marvel Studios will also look to cast someone of South American descent to play Johnny Storm. I find it very unlikely they'll go the adoptive route the previous franchise did, but finding both the siblings I think is key for the franchise. Now, this kind of flies in the face of another report that dropped earlier this week from Jeff Snyder. Jeff was on the Hot Mic podcast and dropped a couple of clues about who is at least campaigning for the role. According to multiple sources, the Fantastic Four and the X-Men are the two hottest properties for actors in Hollywood right now, and many people are vying for the roles. And according to Jeff, one of those roles is Johnny Storm, and according to Jeff, Elvis's Austin Butler is currently pursuing the role. Now, what this suggests is that casting has already begun. And quite honestly, Butler's look is darn near perfect for a classic Johnny Storm from the comics. Now, I don't know how well he fits with the Gonzalez, and this is obviously all speculation, but it's pretty clear that Marvel Studios is currently in the casting process, and we're going to be hearing a lot of names. Now, to be honest, I'm unfamiliar with his performance in Elvis, but he does have an okay resume, and he does have the look, so if he was a choice, I would give it a chance. And this brings us to Mr. Fantastic, whose news is all over the place. First, let's take a second to talk about Krasinski. Now, many of you remember the director of Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, Sam Raimi, had indicated that him appearing in that film was a bit of a stunt cameo. But many of us fans had assumed that Krasinski would reprise the role and take it up as the main MCU Reed Richards. Now, at this point, this is looking less and less likely, because recently he was speaking to The Wrap about the third season of Jack Ryan, and he was asked directly about stepping into the role of Reed Richards. And this is what he had to say. There aren't any discussions at all. The only discussion I had was actually in the second to last week of Jack Ryan. Kevin Feige called and said, "Would you fly to LA and play in our sandbox for a day?" I was honored to do it. I flew right from Budapest when we wrapped and went right to the Doctor Strange set. I'm a big fan of all those characters and that world, so to get to play in that sandbox was a real thrill. It's totally insane. To be in the room with all those people and again be part of the narrative is crazy. But yeah, being turned into spaghetti wasn't my end goal in life as far as how it goes in the Marvel Universe, but you know, it was fun nonetheless. Now when you listen to this quote, he gives no clue about him returning to the role of Mr. Fantastic. I'm not saying that he won't, he's just not giving us any information, and it appears that this very well might have been a one and done like we've been told all along. Now, over the last week, we've been getting a lot of news about potential casting for the character. It has been reported that Diego Luna and Adam Driver are both being eyed to play Mr. Fantastic. Quite honestly, Luna was awesome and is a hot commodity after Andor, and I think fans would respond pretty positively. Now, Adam Driver is a well-known actor and is awesome, but quite honestly, I see Driver more as a Doctor Doom type, and Luna with Reed's trademark gray hair spots would look pretty darn cool, so I'm completely down. The role of Reed Richards is going to be really important to this project and needs to be somebody who can lead the team. I think Luna is probably the better guy for that role, and if he's at the top of the list, I think this will be a good choice. Now, this brings us to The Thing, and quite honestly, there has been no news. This is obviously going to be a mocap CGI character, but whoever the actor that brings him to life is going to be really important. The biggest part of Ben Grimm isn't his muscles or the rocks, it's his personality, and we need an actor who can bring that personality to life, be funny, and also be a little bit intimidating all at the same time. Now, there was a bit of other Fantastic Four news surrounding the Deadpool project, as well as some other potential characters showing up in the movie. Now, once again, this comes from My Time to Shine, who is indicating that the Silver Surfer will indeed be a big part of this film. Not only will the Surfer be part of this film, but it's going to be a very cosmic effort, meaning most of the movie will take place in space. So this leads to many questions about other major characters, especially Galactus or his other heralds. Now, whether the Fantastic Four actually encounters Galactus in this movie or just the Silver Surfer, we're going to have to wait and see. But it's pretty clear Marvel Studios has big plans for Galactus moving forward, and they even almost included him in another recent Marvel project. Now, recently, Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania director Peyton Reed talked a little bit about some of the great concept art he had seen at Marvel Studios. Shortly after that report, some concept art was released by Anthony Lee Wynn for Love and Thunder, and we found out that Jane Foster and Thor were set to cross paths with a couple of big Marvel villains, including Fin Fang Foom, Shuma Gorath, but more interestingly, Galactus. Now, this may have been part of a montage scene or when Thor was with the Guardians of the Galaxy, but it does show that Marvel Studios has the Devourer of Worlds in mind for something very soon and are looking for the right place to include them. Now, one other place we might be getting some Fantastic Four in the MCU is in Deadpool 3, but this will be a previous version. Now, this particular report comes via scooper Daniel Rickman, and apparently Ryan Reynolds is super keen to revisit the 20th Century Fox version of the characters for the upcoming Deadpool sequel. Now, we're assuming this will be the actors from the 2005 Fantastic Four movie and its sequel, and not the 2015 version that was met with so much fan disdain. This lines up with some other rumors we've been hearing, including Ian Grufford being approached to reprise the role for this project, and would mean the possibilities of Captain America himself, Chris Evans, returning to the MCU as Johnny Storm. That would be a huge win, and I know everybody would be super excited about it. Now, I suspect over the next week or so, we are going to be getting a lot of Fantastic Four news, and I don't think this train is going to slow down anytime soon. There's probably not a more important project coming up for Marvel Studios than the Fantastic Four. This is something they have to get right, and it's absolutely going to lay the groundwork for everything going on in Marvel beyond Phase 6. The Fantastic Four's importance to the Marvel Universe cannot be overstated. So many villains and stories either source from the Fantastic Four or are somehow connected to the team, and Marvel needs to get this right in order to make sure the MCU is stable moving into Phase 6 and far beyond. Now, obviously, we're covering everything Fantastic Four on this channel, so make sure you hit that like and subscribe button and ring the bell for all the updates. But until we know more, what do you guys think? How do you feel about some of these casting rumors for the upcoming Marvel Fantastic Four movie? And who is your pick for Mr. Fantastic? I have to say, I really do like Diego Luna possibly taking up this role. Tell me what you think in the comments below. If you like this video, make sure you hit like. Click subscribe, and if you don't ring that bell, you won't get any updates. Peace.